Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the brilliant chaos of HBO's Succession. And we're not just looking at it as amazing TV, but as a seriously sharp case study on power, family business, and, the whole nature of modern capitalism. We're going to use the epic saga of the Roy family to figure out what goes so catastrophically wrong when family and business collide. So let's kick things off with a line from the patriarch himself, Logan Roy. And look, this isn't just some throwaway line, it's the entire philosophy of the world we're about to dissect. It's that ruthless, bottom line above all else mindset that just poisons every single relationship and every decision throughout the entire series.
Okay, part one, anatomy of a catastrophe. Let's get in there and really diagnose the rotten core of the Roy family's dysfunction.
To really get to the bottom of this, you've got to understand something that family governance expert Jill Shipley points out. Families and businesses are basically opposing systems. One is built on unconditional love and strives for equality. The other, it's all conditional, it's performance-based, it's hierarchical. The Roys are trying to live in both of these worlds at the exact same time, and the result is just constant, explosive failure. If you're even going to try to mix these two warring systems, you absolutely need a foundation of trust, clear communication, and some actual forward-thinking planning. The Roys, of course, have none of that. And without that foundation, they're not just risking the business. They're putting their relationships, their entire family legacy, in extreme danger. So now let's zoom in on the characters themselves and see how their behavior is pretty much a masterclass in historical and psychological archetypes. I mean, we're talking about kings, CEOs, and tyrants, all just wrapped up in billion-dollar suits. It's no wonder so many scholars and fans immediately see the connection between Succession and Shakespeare's tragedies, especially King Lear, right? You've got this aging monarch, Logan, desperately clinging to his power, and he just systematically plays his children against one another. He dangles the ultimate prize, his kingdom, just to watch them tear each other apart for it. And this leads us right into a really key psychological concept, Machiavellianism. Logan Roy is the poster child for this. He operates with this total disregard for morality, truly believing the end always justifies the means. To him, everybody, and I mean everybody, including his own kids, are just pawns on a chessboard, tools to be manipulated for his own personal gain.
And here's a perfect example of Logan's tactics in action. As one Reddit user pointed out, he makes these kingly promises, like whispering to Roman that he's the chosen one, not because it's a real plan, but simply as a tool of power. His goal isn't to name a successor. It's to create chaos and make sure no one can ever team up against him.
All right, part three, art imitating real life. Now, I know what you might be thinking. The Roys are just too outrageous to be real, right? Well, the data from actual family businesses tells a surprisingly similar story.
Get a load of this number. According to a survey by Brown Brothers Harriman, a staggering 84% of family businesses report that a business decision has led to severe disagreement or resentment within the family. Sound familiar? Yeah. That tension we see on screen is a very, very real-world problem. This quote about Shiv just perfectly captures that feeling of personal resentment. And it's a feeling shared in the real world. That same survey found that 75% of business owners admit that family members' roles are either not well-defined or not clearly communicated. That ambiguity is just fertile ground for the exact kind of bitterness that we see eating Shiv alive.
And what's really fascinating here is that this data basically shows that Logan's biggest anxieties are the top concerns for real-world business owners. They worry about a lack of good leadership in the next generation, and they suspect their family members are just acting out of self-interest. It's the Roy dilemma, but, with spreadsheets. So how could this whole train wreck have been avoided? Well, experts actually have a clear, structured path forward, a governance playbook that the Roys, in their infinite chaos, never even considered opening. Governance expert Jill Shipley suggests a formal framework like this one to separate emotion from business. The whole goal is to build a structure. So, for example, a family employment policy makes sure that people are hired based on merit and experience, not just their last name. It actually sets a higher standard for family, not a lower one. These are the practical, real-world tools that could have saved the Roys. An independent board could have brought some objectivity to their endless power grabs. A conflict policy might have stopped their arguments from spilling out into public shareholder meetings. And a just-in-case plan? That is exactly what was missing when Logan had his health crisis in the very first episode, the event that created the power vacuum that fueled the entire show. Okay, part 5, the illusion of capitalism. For this last section, let's pull the camera way, way back. Let's zoom out beyond the boardroom and ask what this whole story says about the entire system the Roys operate in. This is the central, kind of haunting question that economist Branko Milanovic raised after watching the show. And it forces us to move past the family drama and confront a much bigger, much more uncomfortable idea. You see, classic economic theory, going all the way back to Adam Smith, kind of suggests we operate in two separate spheres, one for family and community, and another for the marketplace. But Succession shows us a world where that wall has completely crumbled. The amoral, transactional rules of business have totally taken over, creating what Milatovich calls a unanimous moral grayness, where every single relationship is just a negotiation. And that's really the heart of it. The show argues that you just can't have it both ways. A system that actively rewards the ruthless behavior of someone like Logan Roy cannot, by its very nature, also be an ethical one. The whole point of Succession, then, is to completely shatter that illusion. And so, as we finish up, Succession leaves us with this powerful, provocative thought. It forces us to look past the yachts and the skyscrapers and ask, after all the backstabbing, all the deals, and all the power plays, what is the actual legacy of a life spent winning a game that has no moral compass? It's a question not just for the Roys, but for all of us.